we are painting 10 winter sceneries using 10 unique ideas. This is the 8th painting in this series. We are going to use stencil for this watercolor painting. First, I will explain how to paint this gradient sky using wet on dry technique. For that, initially I keep the board in 70-degree angle and I am ready with paint in my palette in coffee consistency. While painting with this pigment, you can see for each and every stroke beads of watercolor is formed. This is because my brush is holding lots of watercolor pigment. I will give you a close-up shot so that you can see the beads that is formed. Initially, for each stroke, I dip the brush in the pigment. This will help in the formation of beads of watercolor. After a couple of strokes, I dip the brush slightly in the water and then going over on the paper. After each stroke, I dip the brush again in the water and again I am going over the paper. This is because we are going to paint a gradient sky. When I am moving towards lower and lower of the paper, I am going to increase the amount of water in the brush so that the pigment become lighter and lighter towards the horizon. The colors I'm using to paint this gradient sky is burnt sienna mixed with little amount of crimson lake, and also I added ultramarine blue to this mixture. You can see now how the value of the pigment got reduced compared to the value of the pigment at the initial stage. When I reach the horizon, my brush has more water and less pigment. This is because I almost rinse the brush in water, so there is less pigment in the brush. At last, I remove the beads of water using a damp brush and also wipe the excess water near the tape using a waistcloth. While the paper is still wet, I add distant trees at the horizon using ultramarine. After adding those distant trees, I allow the paper to dry completely. I made this deer stencil on my own. For that, first I drew the deer on a watercolor paper and then using a knife I cut over the pencil mark. Initially, I had doubt that this stencil will work or not, but at the end, I was happy with the result because I can use this stencil for other paintings also. I used indigo color to paint the deer. Next, I add the reflection of sky color on the snow. And also I added shadow of the deer on the snow. At last I added some pine trees and using acrylic white I splattered some snow for this scene. If you want to know how I made this stencil, write it in the comment section, and if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in another video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.